In the top left corner of the map, our blue Terran player from Team Liquid. This is Clem. Taking on the red Zerg in the top right-hand corner, it is going to be Dark in this best of 7. There was one veto each. I believe Clem vetoed Radu said. I'm actually not sure what Dark vetoed, but Clem obviously ending up on Equilibrium. This is Dark's map pick to start off this series. No surprises here. And Clem, okay, I said I wasn't going to maybe mention the Atlanta series too much again because this was played before Atlanta. This is me casting it after Atlanta. There's a lot of kind of weird kind of connotations that can come from that, but what I will say is obviously that even though this is the go-to Zerg map pick in the best of 7, or in any sort of pick where it doesn't get vetoed, Clem did pick up the win on this map in Atlanta, but he didn't quite do it in the way I thought. I thought it'd be a more grueling victory, a longer drawn-out victory, which is kind of similar to what we saw Clem playing when he played Katowice qualifiers recently against a Laser. He played a very long game on Equilibrium. He really dug in deep. He was happy to take his half of the map and play that very long macro game. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm very intrigued because it feels like Clem was very ready to play long macro games on this map and to try running out in the very late game. But he didn't necessarily need to do that against Dark, right? It wasn't like super... when I say late game, I mean like 25, 30, 35 minutes plus, right? Where we really split the map, where the game really gets slowed down to the latest of stages. So, super excited to see what goes down. Super excited to see what Dark is going to bring, because his style is so interesting. He plays this roach-heavy style, right? That's such a typical Dark thing to do. To play very roach-heavy, play roach defense, a bit of roach aggression. That's Dark in a nutshell, and yet this map doesn't lend itself to that because it's so large. This is a more of a Ling Bane map. This is run around, counterattack, run by. Don't let the Terran cross the halfway marker. Cover this map in creep. So it will be very intriguing to see if Dark even stops, off at roaches along the way to setting up here on Equilibrium, or if he just has other plans from the very get-go. What we can see is that there's a few Lings, a couple of Queens, and some Ling speed getting started already. And there is this Reaper of Clem heading across to the far right-hand side. It's going to be arriving into the natural in just a couple moments' time to have a little bit of a peek as to what is going on. There's a few Zerglings here. There's a couple of drones. This first Reaper gets into not really much avail, right? There's not really much to be done. Obviously, just seeing this as a hatchery first is nice. Putting a little bit of pressure on is nice. But there's nothing necessarily to be really screaming, shouting about. Everyone's going to be pretty normalized with this sort of a scenario. The Reaper gets very low. Whoa, what are we doing? Clem. That was almost like he went back in to get a creep tumor that didn't exist yet. I think he thought the Queen was about to drop it. And so he turned to get the creep tumor, but then Dark didn't drop it. He turned to fight the Reaper. And that was a very distinct kind of moment. That is a Reaper lost from Clem, and that's a little bit of a mistake from Clem at the very start of this series. You're not used to seeing Clem losing a Reaper. Yeah, almost unheard of, right? Just not something that happens a lot of the time. So a very, very interesting little situation there. Clem going to be down that Reaper in the early stages. That means these Lings can come across the map. They can pick up information that they're not usually allowed to have. Third hatchery obviously goes unharassed. Not that the single Reaper was likely to make much of a difference on the third hatchery anyway. And the Zerglings now with speed going to fall back home. A couple of Hellions are on the way. And we already have 2 of them out as well. They're starting to take some map control back once again since the Reaper has failed the Terran in terms of being able to maintain map control. So it's going to be now down, as mentioned, to the Hellions. And the creep spread's already pushing forward. Look at this. The Queens are getting to work. The active tumors are spreading in different directions, getting up in front of this base on the top side, getting down on top of this base on the south. A couple of Hellions will maybe find one drone here, though. Easy to build a spore when you have so much time as this. Oh, the Emo Chamber got blocked by the Hellion, then the Hellion got the shot off again to actually kill that drone. So that is at least 1 kill there from Clem. Very low HP. Hellion might want to bring that back for a bit. Maybe even get it repaired before we reassess any further attempts on the map. Because that's kind of a sitting duck, as 10 additional drones are now all on the way up. So plenty of workers being produced here in these early stages. Sorry, I just had to double check very quickly my my sound was working, because I've been having some dodgy issues with my sound stuff lately, and I was like, oh, wait a second. I'm going to be absolutely murdering somebody if if I cast this series and I realize I haven't actually recorded the sound to it. So best to just double check that quickly. That's why I just did a quick double take, because I thought something wasn't moving as it should. But it's all good. I'm back on track. I do just want to say, just before this gets going too much further, if you are watching this series on YouTube, if you've been following this event on the YouTube channel rather than live on Twitch and so on, then A, thank you so much for watching through the YouTube, and do consider leaving a like on the video. This is our grand finals. It's a best of 7 between Clem and Dark. Let's get this video some hype. Let's get this video out there. Let's let new people find some great games of StarCraft 2. Please do leave it a like. Leave a comment down below. Let me know how much you've enjoyed the Christmas Day games. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, then that's just a bonus on top of everything else. But back to the action here. Hellions cruising around that gold-based location. It's kind of weird for me. I've been casting TLMC the last few days, so I'm used to all of these kind of different maps. And now we're back on Equilibrium. I'm like, oh yeah, this is just a map that's in the map pool. Never mind the fact that it's also kind of a weird map in itself, and one we don't really see that often. It really only pokes its head into best of 7s or losers pick kind of formats such as World Team League. So, yeah, very kind of cool to see Equilibrium is, ooh, Dark. I did say, you know, it's more of a Ling Bane map, you know, and that sort of stuff. He's going to play the fairly quick Spire, so he built into the Bane Nest, he didn't go for the Roach Run along the way, and now we're going Spire. What a fun little composition, what a fun little choice that we have coming out of our Zerg player here. So straight to Mutas. Great on this map, it's large, you can obviously get across, you have plenty of time to bring them back should you need them to help clean up a larger army if Clem commits onto the other side. So there's just a lot of chances to get across, deal damage, pull back, and for you to just control this map, which if you do get control of the map, if the Terran has to play laid back and back at home defending against Mutas, you have the world open and in your arms because there is so many bases, there is so much to do here on Equilibrium. You're going to have the absolute time of your life as these medevacs make their way out into the middle of the map. So it's going to be Clem looking to try and potentially strike here over the next few moments. I'm seeing the Hellions will join up with this as well. Do we have an armory yet? I was just wondering, because 1-1 is fairly far along. Armory would be kind of timed out around now. It's just now starting, so that's not too bad for the upgrades. Just mostly wondering if you could morph into Hellbats already, just to kind of help with this push. Obviously, that is not the case here, since we do have the Marines pushed back once again. The Queen's going to keep those Marines away. Triple hatchery from Dark. Macro hatch, hatch base, hatch in the front, hatch on the gold base. He's just expanding absolutely everywhere, so Dark is not going to chill out in the slightest. As our Marines and Medevacs do continue their own way out across through the top side of the map. See where they can go and what they can get up to. Absolutely looking to cause trouble. As we stim in, a couple of creep teamers already going down. A little Baneland's got to crash through as well. The rest of these Marines unloading from the Medevacs. We'll re-engage forward once more. A little bit more Ling Bane going down on the bottom side. Hellions do get denied. The Queen comes forward there, and we see the first Hellion going down with pretty much immediate effect. Widow Mines, bang, bang. Zerglings going down very quickly. As we escape away, the Mutas, of course, a fantastic way to shut down these Medevacs as well, so we'll be keeping our eyes on that. As the first Viking just comes through, the Muta's already taking damage. Now the Hellbats can morph in, so they are going to be a bit of a front line for this army. Let's see how this plans out. Pushing already onto this high ground position. Now some Zerglings are still running around in the center. Marines will stim up. They will go after those Lings. No problem at all. Thank you very much. We'll take those. Hellbats and Marines together. Still looking to press through the frontier. Clem going to try and let these Hellbats do some tanking. They're pretty clumped up though, as we are going to be seeing the Ling Bane crashing on through. However, Clem is able to hold his own a little bit. Now burrows up one Widow Mine. As Ling Bane still coming forward. Very important these Widow Mines are getting target fired down. You do not want to let those develop into big connections. That's going to give Clem the efficiency to really see a bit more life in this game. Resources lost right now is very manageable for Dark. 600 worse off at this stage on such a large map where you're now getting access to a gold base and all the rest. These are things you can absolutely live with. These are trades which you can absolutely look at and say, yeah, okay, that's absolutely 100% fine for me. No problems at all in these early stages. As we have the Mutas once again around the bottom left-hand side. So actually going to see them darting across the map, maybe for the first time, actually. We've not seen them too aggressive. Now they will try and deny the fourth base a little while. It's fair enough because Clem's being able to kind of keep them back. This is Dark's first chance to get onto the other side and maybe try and make something happen as well. Look to see something take place. Those Widow Mines! Bang, bang, bang. Okay, wasn't so bad as I initially thought it might be. Clem was able to minimize the damage there. Marines and Mines still join up on the Watchtower. Still got ourselves the Ling Bane Muta over on the right side. Join up with everything else. All the numbers continue to increase right now as More Banes come on through. The Thor on the way, a couple of Widow Mines coming up, Marauder as well. Clem obviously getting a Marauder up, wants to start tanking with the Bioforce also, rather than just having Marines there. A little bit fragile, having a few Marauders in front can make a world of difference when it comes to some of those later game fights. But the Thor's also great because it tanks, and it's going to be great at deterring those Mutalisks from kind of diving in as a massive clump into these engagements. So these are all things you kind of want to be aware of and on top of. Dark eats a Widow Mine shot there. The one Mutalisk already going down. 3 more meters coming out. The Hive is producing in the main base. And the Ling Bane's going to go running forward one more time. In we go. Oh, that Widow Mine finds a connection. 17 kills. He gets it. Nice. Very nicely done. Widow Mine goes down. The Marine goes down. Everything else comes back out into the center. And we're going to try and turn around once again. Widow Mine trying to line up a shot onto the Ling Bane meter. And resources lost, definitely great for Clem, 1700. Very manageable, but again, big map. And even if Dark hasn't had the prettiest of starts, which I'd say his start is still very respectable, the map oftentimes will come back to save a Zerg on a in a series like this or in a game like this, because there's so little the Terran can do when it comes to eventually the fact that the Zerg has so many bases, and it becomes very difficult to reinforce and to keep momentum on a map of this size. This one really is, the obvious Zerg pick for good reasons. It's got all the checkboxes marked for a ZVT being favorable to a Zerg. There's a couple more Banelings going down. There's some Burrowed Banes. Yeah, I kind of love those. We'd love to see if they can do anything. It's the Mutas that are flying through the top side, by the way. They got hit by a mine as they went, cleaned it up before they continued. Those Banelings absolutely hoping to cause some trouble at some point soon. Meanwhile, Clem is relocated to the top side of the map where he finds one more Mutalisk. Just another little pick-off of this kind of line of turrets that have to come up. You know you need it as well, right? You're just so aware of what's happening in a moment like this. Actually just pops them up on the missile turrets, which to be fair, they're obviously revealed once the missile turrets go up, so why not just pop up and kill triple missile turrets? You know your opponent clearly wants them, you know he kind of feels like he needs those for the defense, so, make him rebuild them. I mean, those Banes weren't going to do much else there. I actually kind of like that decision as the Ultra Cavern comes in and Dark is going to start seeing himself onto the stepping stones of this game, because now the Ultras are going to help to carry you through to the next stage. Widow Mine gets 23 kills. I'm not sure if I had a few before then, but I could believe 23 is a good clump of Lings, as Dark is usually much better at that, right? Just noticing when there's like a few, when there's a Widow Mine here or a Widow Mine there, making sure that no more than a few Lings get caught by these things. There's been a few Widow Mine shots already in this game, number 1 on Equilibrium, that has had me kind of down a little bit. Whether Dark is paying the best attention that he can. It's a little scary. He might get away with it on Equilibrium, but if these sort of things happen on another map, that is when Clem can absolutely capitalize and do extremely well for himself. As the bio all gathers up, we are going to be seeing Ling Bane still moving across. And a lot more Marines are going to be there to push those Zerglings away once again. Ling Bane still coming through. Widow Mine shot going to go for a couple of Zerglings. A bit more damage done with those. Bio still coming around. The Ling Bane Muta is going to start running forwards. Here we go. Pulling it back just a little bit. And again, that army stemming up a storm. More Ling Bane Muta continues through. The Muta's overhead, still charging forward. The Thor in the front. Ghosts are going to sit there chilling. We are going to be seeing this entire army continue to come through. Mutas again absolutely evaporated by Thors. They are going to have to start being very careful. Widow Mine still firing up. Extra Zerglings going down. Dark feeling like he's got a bit of the momentum to continue through. He is fighting against a 3-3 Terran. He's also replenishing with a good few Ultras, a few Corruptors even. His army composition is improving as we go here. Troop spread is all over the place too. It's very difficult to imagine where Clem is going to push into and how Clem is going to push into anywhere in particular. This map is covered in, and not just covered, but littered in creeps, so it really is just going to be all information, all key factors kind of in Dark's favor. Clem obviously is going to have to play a very long, kind of drawn-out game if he wants to win this one. So he's going to do his best to work on that. As I mean, he's got Ghost Liberators, the Sense Towers for days are coming online. We have got ourselves a true little macro game to start off this best-of-7 grand final. Dark runner-up of the Christmas Day Games 2021. Clem forgot to show up last year. Instead, he makes it all the way to the grand finals as the Bio is actually in a bit of trouble here. That's a hell of a lot of Banelings, and they are crashing through into anything that will bear witness to them. SCV is crashing down to the right side. Banelings eating Ghosts up for dinner on the left on the ramp. Clem loses a lot. 16 SCVs, a good chunk of bio. And what's terrifying is the fact there's still a few ultras here. The Banes crash into the main base as well. Apparently everything's crashing, because I am just using that word a lot right now as the ultras break through. The Liberators might save the day. I thought breaking up into the main base, there might have been something of an opportunity there. There's a few more Lings going after the orbital commands. Those are going to lift off now. Ling Ultra still trying to come through. I was terrified for Clem that these Ultras were still alive, continuing to push, but he handled those pretty well. Of course, defending up the ramp into the main makes it a little bit easier. Extra Banes morphing in. Ling Ultra still coming through. Corruptors are firing up onto the orbitals. A couple of reactors going down. These starports trying to provide the Viking coverage is now are now being threatened as well. Still some Vikings firing up. Corruptor still taking damage. Ling Ultra goes over to the left-hand side. Planetary Fortress is already taking some pretty hefty shots. 10, 11, 14 SCVs. The numbers keep rising. Dark has struck once and he's just never looked back. He hasn't needed to, just keeps the momentum going. Once you break the Terran that one time, why let them breathe again? Keep on their back. I know a Terran can kind of rally and obviously bring a bit of a defense with the ramps and the in the defensive positions, but you've done a lot. You've killed a lot of SCVs especially, and right now your Sentry Train units, as they are spawning, you've just got that much momentum on your side, so it's silly not to take advantage of it. You see Clem retreating further again. Maybe here Dark doesn't chase all the way into the main base, but he has other bases he can go to. These bases over here are all pretty fragile. They're all pretty open to attack. Yeah, one or two might be a planetary. I think Dark is very aware that he's got opportunities, though, to play as he wishes. He doesn't max out again, though. Dark has lost a lot, or used a lot of his money here. He's still traded inefficiently. And that's the one thing I will note, that Dark has not maybe kind of had as much eco as he could have done. Obviously, he's taken out a lot of eco of Clem just there, but a necessity, really, more than anything else. Also, you see a few more Zerglings trying to come across. First couple of shots come through. The Lings get turned around for a moment or so there. They're going to get pushed back over to the right side. Dark is definitely slowing it down for just a moment or two now. Trying to make this chill out a little instead. Trying to make things settle here. And Queen comes joining up. Mabayo will grab a single Zergling. After 2, 3, 4 minutes of just non-stop attacks, we do settle back down. Coming through, a few Crypt Timbers are getting picked away at. Just going to be seeing the rest of the Lingbane Ultra just coming down to the bottom side. We have a Hydra Den started up. Extra 8 Banes coming through. And +2 missiles on the way up on the Evo Chamber, the +2 fly carapace. Like I say, when the game settles down, you start to see some of those upgrades coming to life. And that's what Dark will do, just focus on, well, improving his army, making it better. I think Clem's going to max out again. And of course, a defensive Terran can still be an absolute bane in the Zerg side. I'll tell you what is going to be interesting is this space and this space. Like, Clem kind of needs to take those, right? So it's going to be a real trial as to whether Clem can get those bases online for himself. If he can get those bases, this game is probably still fine. If he can't get those bases, that's where his efficiency is going to really kind of not matter at all, because then Dark's just going to outman him by 2 bases. There's even a possibility, if Clem focuses a lot defending down here, that Dark could even take the top base for himself. A few more Banes just going to come over and crash in. Planetary Fortress goes down, SCVs as well. Army continues to settle. A couple more Ultras, lots of Lings all coming up. Seeing our +3 plating and +2 ship weapons from Clem. He's definitely preparing for, again, just later game situations. Vikings and Liberators being upgraded, getting them protected as possible. He knows he needs to take these bases. He knows he needs these forward positions. That's why he's going to make an effort to take this one already. Again, he just needs to last long enough. He needs to survive on this base for a good amount of time. And then on the top side of the map, we've got the... well, let's hold that thought, because we've got this fight happening now. Dark knows, again, that this is absolutely one of the bases you want to try and deny. Banes are rolling forward. Bio going to fight. A couple of Ultras already taking damage. Corruptors coming through. Medevac's taking a lot of shots. Viking trying to fight back as well. So we'll be going down. Okay. Like I say, Doc knows how important this base is, and again, this is what it's coming down to. We still have to take this base at some stages, Clem. I mean, it's kind of like pick your poison. You can only really defend one side of the map properly at a time, and obviously Clem's just choosing to try and defend the bottom side. Do not love this for him. Obviously, just it feels like anytime he tries to push a bit further forward and he exposes himself slightly additionally, that is immediately leapt upon by Doc, and Doc just looks to punish him from there. Oh, 20 minutes of action and equilibrium. Fun start of this series. Like I say, to me, trailing towards Doc's favor. Let's see if Clem can pull it back. Wouldn't mind shots being split away from nicely here as we just run Lings up here. And again, if Clem's trying to defend the bottom, Ling run bys up here are going to be absolutely brilliant. And then as Clem rotates up, Doc's going to try and catch him on the move. So he's actually going to bring Banelings across, try and intercept those bio units, moving to the top side. And if nothing else, it slows down the defense against the Ling run by as well. So again, just some cool maneuvers from Doc, able to really, again, capitalize on the position, able to really work that to his favor as best as he possibly can. A few Lings on the bottom side trying to run into Planty Fortress. That's probably not going to be all too great. Again, it's going to require a few more units to really knock down and deny yet again. And these Marines just going to sit here, going to get knocked down by Lings and Ultralisk. Still got a few more Corruptors continue to transfuse each other up. 42 additional Lings in production. All of that on the way. And the game just settles down for now. But until when? I mean, Doc, the one thing I will say is Doc is not maybe improving his army as much as I thought he might want to at this point. And in a way, maybe he doesn't feel the need to. You know, there's no real spellcasters in this. We don't see Vipers. We don't see Infestors. He doesn't feel as though, you know, those units and spellcasters are really a necessity. Otherwise, he would probably be kind of making more plays towards getting them. Because he's had the freedom to get them, although he's a little gas-starved right now. And there is him taking that base, by the way. I think I mentioned that a few moments ago as a real possibility if the attention of Clem is kept down to the south side of the map, which, you know, Clem has been doing. Doc is kind of keeping him there as well, so I love the idea of just taking that base. Even if you just mine a few resources off of it, those are the resources that Clem never gains access to. And that eventually makes up for the efficiency that Clem is playing with, which isn't even that much that you need to make up for as Doc. 5,000, 6,000. When you see Zergs obviously sometimes working into the 10,000s and still being somewhat okay if they can get additional bases up over the Terran. Lings kind of need to choose their target here, though. I feel like now we're hitting the left planetary, we're hitting the right planetary. The split doesn't really do Doc many favors, and what, Doc does not have a lot of lava banked up either, so rebuilding is actually a little bit of an issue for Doc at the moment. It's definitely going much worse for him than he might have expected. Ultra's coming through, Ling Bane still building up. Still charging forward. One Widowmine gets burrowed. It's going to go for a few of these Lings. At least all the Widowmine's going to go off. Actually, pretty good Widowmine connections across the board, hitting a lot of those Zerglings in that moment. The few Ghosts getting some snipes off as well, pushing the Corruptors back over to the right-hand side. Bane still producing through. Just going to be seeing more Marine Marauder coming out. Extra Widowmines on the way. Army in the center, gathering up as well. Ling Bane Ultra. Continuing to move around. Well, Clem still has an army, and if Clem can take one very good fight, that's definitely his way to kind of win this game still. I'm just trying to sit back and consider for a few moments. His army supply is good. He's not going to have a lot of rebuilding potential, which is always going to be tough. It's hard to find a fight like the one I'm describing where you don't really need to rebuild as the Terran, but it's not impossible, especially if you get momentum and get across the map and get on top of some bases and reinforcing lines of the Zerg. Things on the left just going to start going down. A few SCVs getting picked away at. As you see, the Ultra, the Banes Pushing on through. Vikings are going to get shot down. A couple more Widow Mines coming through as well. Bio going to turn it back around again. Back down to the south, even more Banelings get morphed in. We again look at this bottom side. Lings, Corruptors, Banes, Ultras, a bit of everything all brought in. Bio going to dive up to the top. He's going to dive onto this hatchery. Like I say, even a few resources Dog took away from this base, probably worthwhile. As resources Clem now can't gain. SCV's getting busted down. Again, we talked about Clem not being able to rebuild. That's going to be amplified by losing SCVs, because he'll have to potentially rebuild some SCVs. And if he doesn't, then he's got even less money to rebuild with as well. Io and the Ghost still come through. A couple of creep tumors already going down. Still got ourselves the 9 Hydras. So many Zerglings on the way as well. Just gonna go dive through here. Wouldn't mind shot. Gonna go just for a little bit of the Ling Bane. Clips. The Vikings continue to trade. We do have these Corruptors taking quite a lot of damage as well. And the army still coming across, still pushing over. Clem is, again, on a massive army supply, 134 to 87. So if he can, if there's a way to win this, it's essentially by pushing right now with this massive army supply advantage, taking a much better trade for himself. This is Clem's opportunity. I mean, this fight was huge. We dropped down massive supply on both sides. Now about 100 to 70, so still advantage Clem, although maybe not as much as it was. Targus fires down the Baneling there. There's so many more Banelings on the way, however. The Hydras continue to come across. We're going to be seeing the Zerglings still coming over here. Pushing those Medivacs back once again, unloading onto this orbital. More Hydras producing through. I mean, again, Clem is just out of money. 30 SCVs does not provide enough income to realistically keep rebuilding an army. You can straggle in a few Marines here and there, but it's really hard to even call those reinforcements as Lings just go across the map. Such few Lings is such a non-issue for Dark, so you can just run across, deny these bases that Clem's trying to mine from. Again, Clem trying to push into base, and that's the thing, Clem's not even really seen a hatchery of Dark in the last 10 minutes of this game. All of his pressure was stopped, and his late game defense never really got to build up either because of, again, that one crashing fight Dark had. That was the turning point in this game. Clem went on the defense, he had to defend his main base. From there on out, it felt like he's never really had much of a grasp here on Equilibrium. And with Dark on his production right now as well, this situation is only getting worse. Clem tries to pull back from the main, and don't get me wrong, it's surprisingly close, realistically, because Dark doesn't have a lot of money, and he's not maxed out either. Like, Clem was not far away from making this an alright game. Resources lost. It's 14k difference. That's sizable, considering Clem is mining one of these bases, even if not this one up here. Like, Clem was fairly close to making this work, just a little bit off in the end. There is absolutely a world where this could have been a very, very different story. As the bio continues through, and get rid of a few more Lings. The Lings coming over here, going to go after a few SCVs as well. Liberator sieging up. I mean, the Lings just continue to go after this, that, and whatever. On the bottom side, the bio's still going after these Queens. The Lings still chilling out in the center as well. Widow Mine shots going through. Hydra's going to get sniped away at. Ling Bane Hydra going to come pushing forward. Another Widow Mine shot hits a few Zerglings. We kite back over to the far left. The Banelings continue to come through right now. Turning back around, a couple of Banes get picked off. The bio just going to chase on forward. A lot of Hydralisks still being chopped away at now. And this is where Clem actually might still get it done. Somehow, the man is at 110 army supply. His army may actually yet be unkillable. There's no way, right? I mean, Dark was... No, there's no... It actually might be a way, guys. There is a way! Dog tries to dive in, and his army's just not there anymore. I said it. Clem was very close to winning this game, and I wasn't believing he was going to, not in the slightest. Around here, I'm like, well, he was close, right? Because maybe even a little bit on from here, but Dog had money, but he was running out of money, right? Like, Dog wasn't remaxing fully. Dog wasn't spending everything he could. And to be fair, Dog was still just building very low-tech units. Very low-tech units when you think about just Ling Hydra, not even really many Banelings, and Clem has such a scary force. What a ridiculous just final few moments here. I just look through it again because, well, yeah. Right, so Clem actually kills just a lot of Zerglings that are running across the map. This Widow Mine gets a few kills as well. And then when you run in here, the Widow Mines do okay. And we just kite back. let the Widow Mines do work, and Dark's army supplies just disappearing without money to rebuild into it. These last few moments from Dark, this like last 15 seconds right in this moment is so fascinating. 61,000 to 76,000 resources lost. We have Lings here that get cleaned out. I mean, just look at the resources lost go up. It's kind of ridiculous as Lings just go down everywhere. From 75 to 77. From 77, it's going to go to 78. And Clem's basically losing nothing during this. And this is just Dark gifting his army away, and it just gets worse. Wow. Clem loses a little bit there, but... I mean, Dark just killed nothing at all, and that's how close the game actually was. Wow. What a baffler of a game. I was convinced there was no winning this from Clem. And maybe there wouldn't be if Dark just had a little bit more tech. A little bit of something. That is actually... I'm trying to wrap my head around it a little bit. I know I'm just staying in the game, but... Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised, honestly. I'm a little bit surprised. GG's. GG's. Huh. Clem wins game 1. I'm clinching that game. Somehow, some way, I'm still a little bit taken aback by it. Our blue Terran player from Team Liquid. This is Clem. In the bottom right side, our red Zerg player. It is Dark. Oceanborn from map 2 is kind of an interesting one, actually, so pretty intriguing choice of second map. I wonder what the thought process is here, because obviously Equilibrium is Dark's map pick. Now this is Clem's map pick. If Clem picks Oceanborn, I'm a little surprised, because I feel like this is not a bad map for Zerg. It's big, there's fairly, numerous counter-attack paths. Maybe Clem is just fairly confident in his macro game, and so maybe he is just fairly confident to play on these bigger maps. That's why he wasn't kind of fearing playing on Equilibrium. Again, Clem did trade very efficiently, and I guess it makes sense that if Dark never really got the additional base up, I'd like to say I'm just still a little bit baffled by the whole thing. What an absolutely wild time. Wild time. Oh, alright. Well, again, I gotta get that game one out of my head a little bit. There's a lot you can discuss there. I mean, we've seen it happen before where the Zerg feels like they've got complete and total control of the game. I was singing the death sentence of Clem, though. I was absolutely singing the death sentence of Clem. I was kind of losing interest. I was kind of like sitting there. I was like, okay. And then Clem just is walking across the map with so much. I just felt like it swung from Clem kind of holding on to Dark just being dead. And, like I say, maybe that's on me for not noticing that trend happening a little sooner. Wild times, anyways. Reaper opening here from Clem. Just a single Reaper command center on the low ground. Fairly regular way to build initially as this Reaper starts to head out. And onto the map, heading down to the bottom right-hand corner for the first few moments here. Away we go. To try and apply a little bit of pressure. So, again, off down to the bottom right-hand corner. Queens, Ling Speed, a few more Zerglings all coming up. Obviously, everything as you kind of expect it to be. There is the SCV blocking the drone from becoming the hatchery. If this forces the forward hatchery, maybe that's something that Clem likes, and he can do something with that. SCV is still here, so the Reaper... Oh, yeah, that's a dead drone, right? Because now you can't actually get the extractor down, because the SCV and the Reaper can block the gases, and that means that you cannot build the extractor with the drone to save it. So that was a dead drone. That's a nice start, because now Clem's delaying Dark from getting to base number 3, and Dark was not planning on this, so he's flowing a little bit of money he didn't really want to be flowing. You can see he doesn't want to spend everything that he's got, because he still wants to get a base down ASAP when he can. This Reaper going to be as annoying as possible. He doesn't have a grenade or so to drop. He actually did. He could have dropped a grenade and maybe bopped the drone back for a few moments extra. At that point, we're fighting over the tiniest of things, though, so not really the biggest of deals. As our Ling Speed and our Queens and our drones just continue through. A couple Hellions coming up. Command Center building. Starports on the way. Refinery building from Clem as well, as the Reaper gets all the way to the top into the main base. There's going to be a Zergling right there, which is going to get picked off as well, so that Zergling also going down. There's a couple of Hellions still poking around over on that edge. Okay, I'm just trying to see a bit of what's going on. Now these Hellions will pull back down, away to the bottom right. Couple Overlords coming up as well. Drone's still on the way. Soviet's chilling. Just continue to settle into. We hope it's another fun macro game. Like I say, last game I guess really was just Dark throwing things at Clem for a long time, and in the end obviously we saw that not quite being enough. And there's a couple of Hellions fight there. The Queens are going to take some damage. And the Hellions and the Reaper still just sitting out the front. Another couple of Hellions coming across the map right now. Grenade goes down, blast those Queens around a little bit. Queens continue to try get to the front. Again, Queens drones, couple of Lings coming through as well. Got that cloak coming in. Plus one melee upgrade still on the way out as well. With the drones all in production. Dark is just getting himself set up into the nice macro stage. With the Cloak Banshees, we'll see what exactly Clem can do. See how much of a commitment he wants to try and make of this. As this Banshee starts to head down to the bottom right-hand side. And you see, again, the combat shield is being built as well. And still just those Hellions pushed back for a few moments longer. Of extra barracks on the way in. Shooting that shot at a couple of Queens. Queen's going to be here. Hellions get turned around. Still got those Spore Crawlers continuing up. Overlords coming in also. As the Cloak continues to produce. Engineering bays in the barracks continue in. Obviously just powering up into this 3-base, 5 racks game style. Very standard to just have 3 CCs. The 5 racks are then going to be your production behind it for a while until you're ready to step up into a 4th base or into a full 8 racks commitment. That's something maybe Clem likes on this map. I wonder if there's something about the potential of kind of just being very aggressive. 8 racks, 3 base all in that he feels like is very strong on this map. 3 bases defend very easily. You can get a strong push maybe on a certain angle towards the 4th base or so. Maybe especially if the Zerg takes this 4th, you can really come from the high ground into it. So perhaps there's something akin to that, you know, made Clem enjoy this map. And you see these Lings are going to get through, and they're going to get in. The depot, well, the Marines were kind of on the depot, but it wasn't trying to be raised anyways. And obviously there wasn't enough Marines to really block the Lings from just surrounding and killing, so this is disastrous. The Hellions have to go back home, and that means that if the Hellions are going back home, they're not controlling the map, and Clem is losing so many SCVs in the process. Dark is going to absolutely shred. 16 workers going down. The Zerglings continue across. The SCVs will continue to fall. Infestation pit starting up. The Baneling Nest is still coming through, and the Banshees will be there to pick off another couple Lings. Queen will continue to fight. The Banshees continue over, and the drones, well, not really taking the damage that's akin to 16 SCVs, which is now going to be added onto by 3 already. The 3rd CC continuing to be under fire. The Lings bringing the pressure once more. The Hellions still coming across. And again, 2-2 upgrades continuing in on the Evolution Chambers. The Infestation Pit is about to be done. More Zerglings continuing over around the far left-hand side. As the Baneland speed continues to produce. And Dark not wasting any time at all. Look at the speed on that Hive. 7 minutes. Hive will start. He's on a rush into that later game, and those, available upgrades there. Adrenal glands. I don't know if we really... I mean, we could rush Vipers if we feel like the tanks are going to be an issue as well. I mean, the options are just there. If you're able to be that greedy as Dark, if you're able to be kind of that aggressive towards your tech, then why the hell not get yourself access to that ASAP? The sooner the better, realistically, as long as you don't die in the process of doing so, and he's obviously done enough damage to make sure he's not really in any danger. Although the current army supply of Clem is fairly dangerous, 60 to the 38. Yeah, so maybe if Clem got one big push going, but of course the idea currently being, I think, that Dark at a moment's notice can just swap into unit production and be super ready, especially with Bane and speed, and a Bear Creep spread on his side. It's going to be extremely tough for Clem to justify any real attack or push forward into each and any of these bases. Well, the Hive will finish in just a few. The Queen trying to come across over there onto the medevacs. The Marines are going to turn the Lings away, the Banes away. Marines continue to be there as the Lings continue to chase upwards. A couple of Marines are going to get hunted down. 2-2 melee upgrades coming up. The Burrow starting up on the natural as well. Zerglings still going after the said Marine. And the Banshees will continue to go after the Zerglings as well. So we keep on working through that. Ultra Cavern coming into play. We still have the 2-2 Melee upgrades coming in, also just seeing the adrenal glands continuing to produce. And the burrow upgrade in production with that as well. So just continue to get the burrow also online. When Bane continues over, we are going to see those medevacs lifting and moving back once again over to the left-hand side. Trying to reconsider where they want to be. And as the Viper continues up, the Ultra Cavern coming through. Again, medevac's just going to load up, back away for the moment. It's going to be plenty of units of Dark coming across the other side. Uh-oh, tanks are not immediately sieged, so the Lings are going to get a jump. The tanks will get jumped on, kind of. Like, the two on the right weren't fully surrounded immediately. Now they get taken down, though, so they didn't last as long as Clem would have wanted. Lings are already trailing into this mineral line, softening up. Some of the SCVs being softened up by a bailing shot or two. Some Lings run toward the natural, just going to hold up some units there, hold up the reinforcements. Dark, not a bad fight. As Clem only just finished Stim. Did he forget Stim? What happened to Stim? Did he lose Stim early on the attack and I just missed that? Maybe that's the case. I'm going to have to go back and check it. I'm obviously missing a couple things here this evening casting because, yeah, Stim just finishing is obviously a pretty darn big deal as well. That is a huge miss from Clem if he's only just got that finished now. That was absolutely meant to be done earlier considering he's over halfway to 2-2. Marines continue by, a few more Lings going down. Obviously now Clem can maybe fight a bit more easily, and he is going to try and hunt down these final units. He will find these units here. He gets rid of 1 and 2 Balins. He should be able to trade out, even with the 2-2 advantage in favor of Dark. That is a fight where I think just Clem has enough numbers to kind of stay in this. Ultras are on the way up, by the way, from our Zerg player. Chitinous Plate will be going along with that, plus 3 melee. The Chitin numeratized Carapace. And the Zerglings still trying to run across too. The Lings going to be taking some big shots off those Marines. Can Clem find enough of a trade? Needs his Widowmine to connect. Doesn't really do enough. Needed a bigger connection than that one. Another Widowmine there. Going to grab a few Lings on the right side. Marine Hellbat is going to show up once more. Just going to come through. These Queens taking some pretty serious damage. Widowmine shots still going off toward those Zerglings on repeat. Absolutely not stopping. Marine Widowmine Banshee continues over to the right-hand side where we are just going to see the push in towards this Lingbane Ultra. Continuing, we have the Vipers up as well. They're going to Parasite Bomb. Why not try and clean out these Banshees for free in this moment of time? Oh, Queen's still taking a few more shots. Here again, the Ling's going to run into the top side. Going to go after a handful of SCVs here, perhaps. Again, Dark just keeping the pressure up. Are we a little worried that Dark is maybe doing the same as last time, which is overcommitting to a few of these fights? Maybe over-sending a few too many units across at certain stages. It feels like he's lost a lot of Lings in previous fights in the last few moments, and Clem's army supply is once again starting to rise up in a very good way. I mean, he's got more army supply. Is that enough? Well, fights like this aren't going to help Clem. Units getting surrounded, of course. No real answer to the Ultras either is also not going to be of great aid to Clem, so that's going to be another issue. He is across the map. He is killing a few drones. He's pushing in with this army, but he's going to have units all over his bases as once more Lings split across his natural third and main. Well, the main base is defended. Dark is still losing drones because Clem is on his own attack, as previously mentioned, so he is finding value. A couple of overlords as he goes. Can Clem do enough? Can Dark ever clean up? The Planetary Fortress tries to hold from Clem at the same time. The Baling's finished. Clem's going to have to lift and back off, and that will buy Dark a few moments. The SCV repair here is not still kind of enough for Marauders to save the day. Oh, Clem's going to GG. To be fair, he is kind of losing out pretty much absolutely everywhere else. I mean, he's losing out to this top side. This base is about to die. He just about saved this one, but that was about as exciting as it was getting. And Clem is going to actually lose out this time around. Gives it to Dark to tie this grand final up 1-1. What the hell happened? So did Clem just never start Stim? He went Combat Shield on the barracks initially? Usually this would be Stim. I didn't honestly really notice it. Usually Combat Shield first is some kind of timing-based push. Some kind of Marine tank push is oftentimes very popular, but this is not really that. I mean, Combat Shield's finishing. I guess maybe Combat Shield finishes as this chaos is ensuing, and he just... I mean, if he did have any plans, it was... I just don't see. I don't see what about this army was going to go across the map and make use of Combat Shield. And then he just never started up Stim for another few minutes, never really recovered from this situation. When did he notice it? Like, was there like a fight about to happen? Some Marines moving around, he starts the armor guy. He just completely forgot. Wow, what a big miss from Clem. Starts it here, didn't just kind of maybe noticed it as these Marines were moving across the map, and then he realized he couldn't Stim them. That's a little bit of a shooter, isn't it? To say the least. That's not really what you want to have happen in a grand final. Clem gets tied up 1-1 here against Dark. And Dark is in our third map of our grand finals. In the bottom right-hand corner, the blue Terran player definitely kind of got controlled from start to finish in that last game, was not really able to represent in the way he usually would like to. The blue Terran player from Team Liquid is Clem. Taking on the red Zerg in the top left side of the map. This is Dark. Game 3, Site Delta as the map. Well, I gotta say, in my eyes, Site Delta is one which I feel like ain't so bad for the Terran, right? Bases are fairly spread out, which maybe the Zerg feels they can capitalize on. But the Terran only has really 3 directions to watch for attacks from as well, so it's fairly simple to deny attacks. And if you're attacking down one, it's limited where else the Zerg can come from. There's a lot of pushes that can be very difficult to flank, for example. So there's reasons Terrans like to play Site Delta. Clem in this game is already going to open with the double barracks on the low ground natural. So he's going to get the barracks started up here straight away. In this game, number 3. Ooh, some good games here so far. As obviously see just what Clem wants to bring to the table. I kind of almost started to believe as well, like I say, it's just you could see Clem's army supply was high, and maybe if he could have just kept going on the other side without being stopped by those banelings, maybe if he could just keep that little bit of momentum going, maybe that would have been all Clem needed. Maybe that would have just been the little bit of extra pushing he needed to really succeed right here. Maybe. Reaper pops out, gonna head across to the upper left-hand side. So you are gonna see the first Reaper action starting, of course, with multiple more Reapers on the way. We'll see how much Clem commits. 3 is the most standard amount of Reapers with this build. 4, a little bit more aggressive. I mean, every Reaper extra is basically more aggression added on. It's gonna delay your future tech a little bit further as well. Just gonna start dancing around with this Reaper, and a couple of Lings are gonna come through to try and dance the dance with the Reaper, of course, which Clem is very good with. He's already got 1 kill. He gets caught by the drones trying to go onto that Ling, which is very low HP. Obviously makes sense to try and grab that because, again, it was low. Understandable. Doesn't quite work out. Here's Reaper 2, and Clem is making Reapers number 4 and 5. So, again, like I say, the more Reapers, the more aggressive this is. The more you're hoping to get done. With 5 Reapers, you almost always want to cancel the third base. You almost always want to make sure that Dark doesn't get this hatchery up and running. I think that's pretty much just a guarantee, right? Where you don't really want to let this develop, you know, into a third base. You want to delay that because you're investing a lot in these early stages to try and make sure something along those lines ain't gonna happen. A couple Lings continue to drop. The Queen's on the ramp, trying to see if they can get involved as well. Reapers continue to get active. Gonna go after the hatchery one more time. 16 additional Lings. The Ling speed continuing up. Reaper drops a grenade. Circlings are gonna get bopped, and again, our few Reapers all continue to gather together for the moment. A few more Lings going down as the Reapers are going to get caught. A bunch of them taking a lot of damage right there. And that's pretty much every Reaper going down. That is not an ideal start here for Clem. Dark is going to absolutely ladle on the pressure. And I gotta say, this is rough. I mean, you look at everything that went down. 11 Lings, 4 Reapers. You did not end up getting this hatchery. It's low, but it's not dead. I've got to say that I can't really love how this series has turned into for Clem. As now this game number 3 is not looking pretty at all. Ling's trying to break up this ramp, but unable to at the moment. Just going to pull back and hold off then for a few more seconds. You see the stim on the way, the Marine's still producing. Starboard building from Clem as well. Bringing that up right now. Getting that on the way. So he will have himself the medevacs, the Marines, and some pressure on the map in, you know, outside of those initial Reapers fairly soon. But yeah, to lose the Reapers, they didn't really do too well. 5 Reapers as well, just feels like you want more than what he got here, so not an ideal start. Medevacs will be producing. Let's see if Clem can turn it around with the Marine play. Dark falls back Where's Dark at in terms of his setup? Nothing at all. He's literally just on the spawning pool. Is there any trouble then? I mean, he's going to be up to 7 queens very shortly, so they are going to be a pretty integral part of this defense. Without those queens, there may be a world where Dark actually does run into some amount of trouble, for example, so possibilities to perhaps look at there. Just wondering if Clem can maybe catch Dark a bit off guard with this first drop. I mean, I'd be kind of surprised, but you never know as our Zerglings continue back onto the map. Here come the Medivacs, 15 Marines. I mean, Dark is doing nothing but queens and lings and drones, so there's a very real possibility he gets caught at least a little bit off guard. The lings are on this bottom right side, but now they're turned back around. That's obviously great deal for Dark as well. It's exactly what he wants to be doing, bringing those back to the top side. Get those back home for the moment. There's a bunch more Overlords start to finish up, and Marines go into the main base. Unloading here, the Overlord will initially go down, so Overlord falls. He's going to try and get that Extractor, and they will succeed. So Extractor goes down here. The Queens continue across. The Medivac's taking damage once again. And just having our 1-1 upgrades and the combat shield will continue to come through. The last starting up. The hatchery coming down on the sides. Again, just plenty of lings making their way down to the bottom right-hand side. For the moment, there's a few Marines in the hell ain't going to be there. Ling's going to get picked away at. A lot more lings over to the left. 1-1 upgrades on the combat shield continue through too. Here's the issue with losing those Reapers and losing control of the game. Look at the creep spread. The map is already kind of becoming darks, right? So the map is starting to get covered in creep. The map is starting to get, you know, absolutely controlled by the Zerg player in this. So in that regard, it really ain't pretty for Clem. Like I say, that's really one of the reasons why you don't want to be losing out early. As the Marines trying to push forward. Just going to be seeing the Queens firing through. The Lings are going to be there as well. It's a drop a Lord from Dark, so he's going to look for even more damage as he just gets this Overlord into place. And we do have ourselves the Medivacs on 2 different fronts. Clem looking for the multi-prong to try and deal some of the damage here. Try and get Dark into a bit of a dodgy spot. Diving in, that's a cancelled hatchery. Now we hop up into the main base. Marines still stimming through. Another drone going to get picked off. The Lings are going to come in for their wraparound. Marines loading into those Medivacs on the bottom side as well. It's going to be another Overlord going down. 7 more Hydras building, of course. Again, Dark just continues with his tech and improving his army as though nothing's ever really happened in this game, which it hasn't for him, right? I mean, that's the thing. Nothing has happened. Nothing has slowed Dark down. He is free to tech and to improve and to do as he wishes for the next little while. He's got no reason to think or to do anything different. And the 2 upgrades all continuing in. The Banes in the main are going to find a few SCVs. Actually burrowed up those Banelings at Clem's sword. Good trick from Dark. Good try. Drop a Lord on this left side. Trying to be active. Clem's going to come over and put some damage on it. Don't think he'll kill it in time. He's trying to drop, but a full Medivac goes down top right. Good catch from Dark. Finding a little bit of success right there. As we still see Widow Mines in production. The Lings going to play on the bottom left. At least here, Clem will actually outnumber a little, and he will have some success pushing through. And he actually gets to jump on top of the drones a little bit as well. So 4 workers going down. The creep team is still being picked away at. Off this hatchery in the bottom left side. There's 20 Lings, 7 Hydras, a couple Overseers all being produced. The Ling Hydra Vein Force going to get to the top, where there's just a 1 Medivac of Marines now, no longer the 2 Medivac threat. Like I say, at least the bottom left is going well for Clem. That is going to be some success for him, and his army supply is good. Is Clem just going to keep like macroing himself out of trouble, and also not just macroing, but he's trading well in the trades. Like, this full Medivac was probably the worst thing that's happened to Clem since the early game, realistically, when it comes to actual losses on the map. And trades like the one in the bottom left are doing such a wonderful job that Clem is genuinely giving himself chances. Doesn't get the Widow Mines to fire here, but now a large army on the right side. That's a lot of Widow Mines. And it's a lot of Marines as well. Can he do enough? 2-2s are going to be pretty much set up to finish at the same time from both of these players. The Widow Mine's really not getting much done there. I think that was a good fight from Dark. Able to get rid of a few Marines. Able to knock the Widow Mines down quickly. Feels like it goes a very long way for him. Kind of still trying to get going. We do see an army down to the bottom side from Dark, pushing into the south at the moment. Making plays. At the same time, Clem is still fighting over here. So Dark has to worry about that, but is absolutely making Clem worry about this. It's a lot of units. It's a lot of pushing power. You push straight in. There's going to be the factory going down as well. A few more of these SCVs are dropping. 12 workers dead. Again, over here, what's going on? The Queens are starting to fight. The Marines continue to fight against some Lings. We will lift up. We'll back away. So in the end, Clem is going to give Dark some space and some breathing room once more. And then drop into the main base. Drop into the main. Again, he doesn't really have enough. Dark's reinforcements starting to come through, but what Clem does have is now obviously his own reinforcements. As they're done defending back on the other side, Clem comes in. Ling's going down. By the way, behind all this, 5th Command Center is finishing, and Clem is stimming forwards in toward this base right now. Onto the left, the Lings are taking damage. The Balin just got target fired down. There's no splash damage. Are the Hydras enough with Lings in front to protect them? Medevacs do have to boost backwards. 3-3 upgrades still coming up. Medevacs and Marines all on the way through. My goodness. Huge engines still just set on the side. There's going to be a couple more Banes being established. Missile upgrade coming through. The Overseer gets set. Widow Mine goes off. Oh, a couple of drones. Medevac still chilling as well. Just seeing some more of these Balins getting set up. Changeling's coming through. 3-3 about halfway done. Yeah, these Medevacs is going to go join up with everything else down on the bottom of the map. As we try and push around to the left side, Clem with a big army, sizable numbers, making his way here. He kind of is. Yeah, he's going to be fine. Just the units up the right sort of time to take this fight. Dog trying to dive into it. His numbers are not there, Dog. As he continues to chase off creep, the Marine count's going to be too big, and at some point you're going to see exactly this, which is a Dog just runs out of units to protect the Hydras. Clem, what's happening? Honestly, like, I feel like he's not having good starts. I feel like he's not having good early games, but the efficiency and the trades are just so good. Doc is struggling to take the fights against him. And again, I feel like Doc is doing very well early, only for Clem to say, cool story, bro, and then just kind of like backhand him and just, like you say, take a couple good fights, and everything that happened early just doesn't seem to matter anymore. It's turned into a fairly wild TvZ. Clem taking the lead 2-1, looking fairly, I like I say, fairly good. Not perfect. He's definitely got his problems. It's definitely not been a perfect performance. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on into game number 4. A black screen of doom. There we go. StarCraft is reloaded, so that's all. In the bottom left-hand corner of the map is going to be our blue Terran player. This from Team Liquid, now with a 2-1 lead in this best-of-7 series, is going to be Clem. He takes on the red Zerg in the top right corner of the map. It's Dark from Dragon Kaiser Gaming. And of course, looking to see what he can do amongst this best-of-7, seeing if he can find himself a way back into it. Down a game or two, not really where he wants to be. Like I say, we'll see what happens going into this 4th game. The map Hecate, I feel like, generally has been enjoyed by Terrans. Although it's a fairly large map, it's kind of narrow, kind of one side to the other. It's especially long, like top left to bottom right is especially long, so you can actually get drawn out quite easily. It does mean the Zerg can counterattack nicely, but if Terrans can entrench one position, then drop and harass the other side, those split pushes can maybe be quite nasty to deal with. So a few options here. We'll see exactly what the go-to plan becomes across the course of this game number 4. And we'll see what kind of start Clem brings to the table. Again, some of his openers have been a little shaky. Love to see him maybe, you know, just kind of close in on those openers a little bit more, get a little bit of a better setup. Let's see what he can do as we get into Hecate for map number 4 of the series. I feel like I've repeated myself a couple times over, but that's okay. I'm just looking and waiting for things to actually say of use, so I'm just filling the time, filling the void on this beautiful day. Again, hopefully everyone is doing great. Hope you're having a great Christmas day. Thank you so much for tuning into the Christmas Day Games. Our 3rd year of doing this event. You guys have made it a success year after year. And hopefully this one is no different. And like I say, hopefully you guys are having a fantastic time with it all as well. Because I certainly am. These games have been fantastic. It's so amazing to be able to get players together to take part in these events. And just, you know, show us great games of StarCraft, something that we all love, we can all appreciate. SC2 in 2023 has been a year in which, realistically, I mean, it's been good, right? Like, we've seen some amazing games of SC2. The game is as good as ever, right? The game is as good as ever. We're all enjoying it. That's just a great time to enjoy StarCraft. I know we may have less tournaments, prize money may not be what it once was, but the games are still great. We're still enjoying. And a big part of that is because our community is so freaking awesome. So shout out to you all. Happy Christmas. And let's watch some StarCraft as this Reaper does start a micro against the first few Zerglings. A couple of drones will take shots as well. That's a drone kill. That ain't meant to happen. I can tell you guys that one for free. That is not meant to happen at all. As the Reaper escapes out through the top side, and there is going to be a couple of CCs on the way. So Clem is playing that triple command center style. He is looking to play into that macro-focused opener. Throughout these early few moments, that is going to be his initial starting point. Third hatchery down over on the left, as we've kind of alluded to. Obviously, Dark gets that up. That's not surprising. And we'll see what it is between Clem and Dark that maybe stands out to us in the next minute or two again, as we get all set up. There's going to be link speed coming through too, so watch out for that. As, yeah, with link speed popping, obviously this Reaper gets shoved back. Hellions on the way from Clem. Not really doing anything too funky with his openers, all said and done, right? Pretty standard stuff, all in all for him. Especially just, in a way, maybe you could argue it's even more, or it's even kind of more standard than it usually is, or to the point where it's not even standard. Like, reacted Hellion builds have not necessarily been this whole thing as of late, actually. Right? I mean, reacted Hellion builds took a backseat to get kind of, a bunch of the Reaper stuff for a long time and so on, so you could argue, as the Reaperlings do claim the life of that Reaper, you could argue that maybe these builds are almost standard for a few months ago, but in the modern day of TvZ, where sometimes you slip some Cyclones and everything, you kind of maybe expect it to be a little bit different than this. But yeah, I mean, this is just the good old Hellion Banshee. It's hard to say it's not standard, but in the current meta, I suppose, the old standard is not as standard, if that makes sense. Confusing. What a time to be alive in TvZ, where the build orders are as varied as they've ever been. This matchup, if anyone ever had complaints about it, it probably was the fact that it was a very similarly set up matchup time and time again. You get reacted Hellions, you get some cloaked Banshees, they move across the map, they harass, they do this, they do that, you know what I mean? That obviously is switching up a little bit right now, changing course slightly. As a few Hellions change their course back down to the bottom side here, so they're just going to be coming across and look to go from the right-hand side for a little bit of a different approach in, but still not really finding much of anything right there. So no love found for the moment. That's going to be seeing 2 more barracks coming up from Clem, and with 2 more barracks building, I have him taking the next step into this macro game. Obviously, you still have to wait for the Banshees to maybe come through, deal some damage, etc. Also a possibility to keep an eye on those things. See those Zerglings going to turn back around to the south. Hellions still move up to the top. We've got ourselves the extra barracks coming through. The engineering bays are building up as well. But Stim continue to produce as well. So, like I say, a big step towards this next stage. The Hellions out on the map, and Clem is not ready for this run by. This is one of the ways in which Dark has been able to take advantages in this series. Lings running by have been pretty deadly at times. And this might be one of those times. 4 workers going down. The Banshees revealing themselves to play defense. The Hellions coming back home. Clem does drop the engineering bay down to make sure the Lings are locked in here. 6 SCVs only so far. Some of those SCVs are so low. We get to 9. I was going to say, if it stayed at 6, maybe we don't hate it for Clem. It's a fair few Lings given up. 9, obviously a little bit extra. I think Doc will be a little bit happy with those last final few moments. Getting a few extra bits of damage done here. And just about eking himself into the bull spot for the moment. Hellions continuing to join together. Couple of Queens coming over. Again, just going to fire up a couple of shots there. We have, I guess, all the melee upgrades and everything on the way through too. And that shows us that Dark is just going to play a Ling Bane focused style to get things underway. So just going to get that underway. The Banshee's coming across. Queen's going to hang out around on this hatch as well. And just seeing our melee upgrades, the Balin speed continuing through. Banshee's just going to go after and try to do what they can as well onto those couple of Queens. So again, damage where it can be found. And otherwise, just seeing the... Oh, yeah, Queen's backing it up. For the moment, the Queen's not enough over here, so has to be a little cautious. Take a couple moments. 3 drones is nice, and again, the Queen's having to back it away. Most importantly, those Banshees are still alive, so you know that they can come back again in the future, which is even better. Knowing that you have those just to be used one more time, Clem still has those harassing options. As always, we talk about it all the time, it's the unit retention of Clem, and he's very, very good at it. So, keeping those units alive is a big deal. As you do see, Hellions going back out in the center. A couple medevacs will move over to the far right-hand side, so they are looking for their drop in the next few moments as well. As the Banshee's still chilling out over to the corner, also looking for their chance to pop back in. The Marines will stim, and they're going to find themselves a little bit of damage, maybe. I mean, I thought we'd see a scan and clean out the few creep tumors at the front, at least. As we do not drop a scan at all. Maybe just doesn't have one, because usually you would scan this scenario. We do knock down the Queen. We lift before the Baneling reaches, and then we threaten the drop into the main base as well. So straight in with this. One Queen goes down, going to lose another. 9 SCVs just got busted down on the third base, though. So Darkbind and eco damage once again is again able to shut down a little bit of what Clem is up to and just slow his economy. And just making it so that Clem can't take control. Yet again, here we are. Resources loss isn't bad for Dark. He's been killing eco, and yet look at the supplies. Clem is really keeping up. Clem is really pressuring. I just feel like Dark has had this happen throughout this series so far, where I kind of expect him to run into a bit of trouble, but then he doesn't actually run into a bit of trouble at all. Well, yeah, I don't think Clem runs into trouble at all. He almost just macros his way out of the mistakes, or the issues or the problems. Like, Clem continues to just get back into these games. Very interesting, very different vibe, like I say, to what I've been expecting. Marines will drop back down on the right side. We'll see Marine Hellbat pushing up. We do see Dark losing an Overlord supply block massively. A 7 Overlord star in production. Dark's trying to get back on track there. A couple of Banes coming around at the same time. It's again Clem letting Lings in on the other side of the map. They're going to get through on the wall off, so a mistake from Clem, wall not lifted. And we are going to see Clem, well, crisis management time. 22 SCVs, they were all stacked on the refineries. Oh my goodness, 23 SCVs going down. Huge amounts of damage. Clem's still attacking on the other side. What can he do? 48 workers left. He does have an army supply lead. Is he able to do enough, though? That becomes our question right now, as we see a couple more Lings going down. We actually have a Baneling and a couple more Lings here as well. They might still strike for some further damage yet. Clem, oh, it's a fungal growth too. Now those units can't lift back up, so that's going to be a little bit painful as well. The Lings continue to come in for a few more units. 2 melee upgrades coming up. 20 more Zerglings in production. And Marine Medevac continues to gather up, going back to the top side into this base where we're going to get rid of a whole bunch of extra drones. Damage being done, 5 workers falling for the moment. 3 more Banelings and 24 more Zerglings all being brought in. A couple of Medevacs still work their way out around the left-hand side with the Infestor coming across as well, coming underneath. Keep an eye on things here, as all of our Zerglings also run by one more time. Once more, the depot is not raised. This time there's more units at home, so Clem should be able to fight this. Widowmine's helping in the natural, getting rid of a lot of those Lings. Clem finally lifts up with the Medevacs. The Banes are still breaking through into this base. There are a few Lings over this right side. These Banelings, though, are the ones crashing into SCVs. We're going to go for 11. A couple more hurt. Dark supply is low on the end of this. I honestly think Clem is continuing to find himself some just about good enough fights to stay alive. He's getting enough of the units of Dark each and every time here, and that's just about keeping him in this game number 4. Marine Hellbat continues up to the top side of the map. We'll see a Marauder here going to go after a couple of Lings. These ones, I think, were the burrowed ones that just popped out right there and come through for round 2. Top side, going to get rid of some Creep Tumors. The Banshee's getting rid of some of the forward Banelings. Clem's supply is still in the lead, and he has 2-2 right now, so it's a dangerous moment for Dark. He might actually be in a little spot of bother. A couple of Widowmine shots going off. Going to go after some of those Banelings as well. So some damage dealt there. And Clem keeping the pressure up on this side of the map. You know, for all the damage that he's taken, you look at this worker count, he's only 15 behind, which really ain't half bad for a Terran against a Zerg. Sometimes you see the Terran drop down to 40 workers, and then the Zerg is on like 80 plus. This is 55 to 70 as he's been able to rebuild a few. And most notably, Dark has not expanded off of his 4 bases. He's not been able to break free of the 4 base curse. 4 bases only just doesn't get me as scared for Clem as if Dark was up on 5, if he had 6, if he was able to hold on to these with any amount of creep spread. His creep is also lacking. A couple creep tumors deep out on the map, but left side of the bases, right side of these bases, the extremities are extremely exposed, and again, that does not bode well for a Zerg having to play defensively and having to try and keep themselves alive for the foreseeable future. Handful more banelings coming around that left side up to the top. It's going to be the Zerglings running in again. The Viper looks to see what it can do. Parasitic Bomb goes down. Medivacs will start to split apart. Actually, a lot of splash damage there. Clem didn't really split successfully at all. He's still eating a bunch of damage. It's understandable. Again, more workers going down from at home, although still on the 4 bases. As well, oh, the Widow Mines need to be careful too. We split apart a little bit as Dog. These Widow Mines low HP, easily taken out right now. If you do get just a couple of banelings forward, just knock those down, take them out of the equation would be incredible already. As you see, 3-3 upgrades continue to produce, and top side, again, it's going to be a medevac that relocates a little bit. Oh, Infestor here just kind of wandering forward. If Clem's paying attention, he could have target fired down the Infestor easily then. It's a messy series. It's a messy game for sure, this one, where you can see that it's a game because we expect these guys to play almost perfectly a lot of the time, right? They're clearly drawing it out from one another, right? Where they're making mistakes, you know, things are not looking as clean as they should be a lot of the time in this game. I guess the series has had that vibe to it as well. Of course, they played a long day, 2 best-of-5s each leading into this. Now a best-of-7 that's almost halfway through. Won't be part of it, because again, this is definitely not the cleanest TvZ we've ever seen, but that is making it all the more fun, especially because these are both players that are, especially I guess because both of these guys specifically are kind of playing in the same way, right? Clem's not quite playing perfectly clean, neither is Dark. Making this very entertaining as Banshees continue to fight. Parasitic Bomb on one of these Banshees still ticking away on it. You see the 3-3 upgrades, the Kindness plate, and the Ultra Switch is on the way. Clem definitely feels like he's in control of the game with his Ultra Switch coming through. Can he maintain control? As again, without a 5th hatchery, it has felt pretty rough for Dark. Clem, 5th command center is going to finish soon. Will likely move into position very shortly. As we do see the extra Widow Mines coming up. The Ghost Academy still halfway over. Ultras and Lings and 3-3 and Kindness all building right now. And Bio is going to push up into the center here as the Lingbane comes forward. Widow Mine shot hits for a whole chunk of Zerglings. You can see the rest of this army pushing over that right-hand side. So again, looking for opportunities as Widow Mines line up. Oh, the splash damage on the Terran units. The Overseer dragging those Widow Mines onto the Terran to help Dark out and to give him a little bit of hope in this game. As Clem currently holding the 3-3 advantage, he would have had a pretty good fight there, right? Like, that was absolutely a moment. Clem was very happy to take a trade. Now it's going to be a little bit more controlled as we see a Parasitic Bomb dropping in. The Medevac's taking big damage as well. They're going to have to boost away over to the right side. Only a couple of them healthy. Oh, Dark giving himself some chances. Oh, Clem flew straight into the Queens. And all but one Medevac goes down. So one of the Medevacs that was full went down. Oh, massive play from Dark. And he is, again, surviving. He's given himself chances. He's given himself opportunities. Dark is making it so he has chances to win this game still. And to tie up this best-of-7, 2s apiece. And I wouldn't have said that a little while back, but now Dark is having a few better moments. Getting to that 5th base, able to keep this up. Saturates it immediately. Might even have momentum to pressure Clem's 5th base that little bit right now. Clem is on his way to Ghost, but they're not quite ready yet. The Liberators set up once again as we are just going to run straight through. Parasitic Bomb on some of those Liberators as well. Lingbane Ultra continues on forward. Just going to be seeing the units going straight through here. The Planetary Fortress is going to be in trouble, and Clem, never mind keeping his 5th base alive, will not keep his 4th base alive. These Ultras are showing up just before Clem is really ready for them. Fungal catches the Ghost, so no snipes from those. The Ultras are unstoppable. The big bad Ultras are just going to come stomping on through, taking out everything in their path. Maybe finally some Sim City, some choke points might be the end of them. One Ultra getting low. Tanks on the high ground shelling. We go the long way around to jump onto these bio units, which are trying to retreat into Medevacs. Clem has just been crushed in the last few moments, and what a turnaround from Dark. As we talk about how Clem is in control, Clem doesn't let Dark have a 5th base. Dark is playing with the scraps of this game realistically, and yet from the scraps of this game, he finds himself a way to make it work, finds himself an opportunity, finds himself a way to win. And that's what Dark's good at. He's good in scrappy situations. A lot of the time, that is where he finds his success. And this was really it. I mean, again, if you rewind this game, like, you know, let's just go back to like 14:30. So a minute and a half ago, not even, right? 14:20, sure. You look at this game right now, it's even supplies. Dark is about to get a 5th up, but Clem is being aggressive. You know, the bio over here is denying a base. The creep spread, it's better than it has been, but it's still not ideal. Clem's got 4 comfortable bases. He's got a 5th ready to go. We've not seen Dark on Clem's side of the map for a long time. And don't get me wrong, Clem lost a lot of workers in this game. He took a lot of damage. At this point right here, I would say it was looking pretty good for Clem. He's got a ton of money in the bank. Dark is broke. Clem just taking advantage, and it all switches. These medevacs go down as they fly out through into these queens, and suddenly the supply swings a little bit, and boy, does Dark grab hold of that momentum and run with it. During this, 3-3 is about to finish up for him, so he can take advantage of that. He can, make use of that as well. Another little bonus for him there. Yeah, just a fantastic turnaround from Dark, like I say, just in the last minute and a half or so. Great defensive map, difficult to break into the 3-4 base setup here. It's all on the high ground. It's quite choked up as well, so I think those factors definitely make it a little bit tougher. As Dark is our red Zerg in the bottom right-hand side. On the top left, our blue Terran player is Team Liquid's Clem. Game 5 of the best of 7. How about that? Very exciting. As a couple drones continue through. Drones coming out and about. CC coming in. Racks and gas building. Just having ourselves the hatchery finishing up in a couple of moments as well. So also getting that on the go. Obviously, just very normal first few moments of Golden Aura. Like I say, these 4 bases pretty choky. Ramps up into them, so it's pretty easy to hold the 4 bases. From there, 5th base maybe becomes a little bit more of a challenge. I feel like overall I kind of like that then from Dark, because a 5th base, which is more challenging to take, is usually a bit easier to take on the Zerg side of things. There are a few positions Terrans can take with ledges and high grounds. For example, if you camp out here and hit this base over here, if that becomes a 4th or a 5th of the Zerg, that can be nice. Dark is scouting for proxies, by the way. Clem, not a big proxy player, right? He doesn't play a lot of proxy racks. Every now and then he might slip one in, but it's such a rarity for Clem to kind of go toward that, so intriguing that Dark will play this drone scout. It's almost like he thinks he's playing versus Bjorn or something, right? This is not something I would expect Dark to feel the need to do against Clem, of all people. And yet here we are. Dark is out scouting around with a drone, and now going to pop a hatchery down on the 3rd base in the end. Spawn pool will finish up in the back. Still see a few Zerglings on the way. Overlord still moving into the base here. Just a couple of moments. Just checking the natural, seeing the CC time, and not CC first or anything. It's just able to get full information in that regard. As our Reaper just pokes around with a couple of Zerglings, gets a little bit of damage dealt. Looking for its first Zergling kill, gets one. There's another one low. Green actually gets bopped immediately. That drone goes low as well. Doctor's having a run away and hide of it, essentially. Not the prettiest of situations there, to say the least. Not super fun at all. Look, oh, there's one Marine then, just patrolling over on the far edge as well. Just going to go back and forth on this corner. Queen's on the way. Overlord Command Center, Orbital, SCV, everything producing through for a few moments. See Queen's drones in production. The Reaper of Clem now forwards to the front a little bit as well, so again just a little bit of an adventure to see what's going on. The Queen pops out, the Reaper gets pushed away for a little while. Yeah, Queen's drones, Overlord, everything being brought through. The Reaper hops up to the high ground, the Queen is there, pushing everything back again. Go towards the OV, which moves over to the side. The Reaper's still coming across. It's still producing SCVs on the way. The Viking will start from Clem as well, so just gets that on the go. And Hellion both joining up together. Again, just taking a few moments. See what we want to do as Clem. Again, pretty fairly standard just setup as well when you look at it. Not exactly rushing into anything particular. A couple of Hellions on the Reaper here. We'll take a few shots. Very peaceful. Peaceful few moments. That's okay. We come out of a crazy game, and this guy's resetting a little bit, so just 3cc. The Viking into Libra, I was kind of thinking when I saw the Viking, like sometimes that Viking, kind of suggests maybe even a little bit of a Hellbat possibility, because you're going to clean out the Overlords, you're going to clean out the Vision, you're going to make it difficult for your opponent to really see what's going on, right? So a lot of the time you kind of work on that assumption. Obviously in this case, it's not going to be how it goes down as the Viking hits the Overlord. The Hellions are going to try and dart up the left-hand side, while we already see a hatchery taking some shots. Again, don't expect that fourth base to go down to a few Hellions, but for Clem, it's just information. Okay, you're going straight to a fourth hatchery. I'm seeing you playing a macro game. I'm not seeing you with the money to kind of be spamming units behind this, so I feel pretty safe. Just going to get my engineering base, my extra barracks. Stim's on the way. And just in general, Clem is going to be getting himself comfortable for the next few moments. Hellions going to dive by. Uh-oh, Doc, he bypassed Link Speed, playing that Gasler style initially, then getting gas later. I was going to say, if the Queen's out of position and you don't have Link Speed, you're in trouble, and that was very nearly disastrous for Doc. He just about gets the other Queens to come in and surround, and that dissuades the Hellions from going deeper. He does essentially block the natural entry point, but that definitely got a little scary as Clem had an opportunity there. Liberator trying up a couple of shots, but he's going to get pushed away by the Spore Crawler as well. 1-1 upgrade, Stimpack coming through. Meanwhile, we still see the Orbital Command just going to come forward as well, just going to come pressing in a little bit, landing in position. And yeah, Hellions still poking about, going to find a creep tumor at the front. On the bottom side of Viking, going to go after the Overlord as well, so just going to put some further damage into play for the moment. Viking able to nab itself a second kill of the game too. Lovely for the Viking as Baneling Nest comes up. Dark now getting that Link Speed. Again, very economic and a bit greedy early to play the later Link Speed. All of these Queens, all these hatcheries very quickly. This is all part of his plan to then become an absolute monster later in this game. I'm a little worried there's going to be a timing window here, I think, for Clem, where Baneling Speed is not going to be done for a little while. Dark's also heading towards Aspire, so he's heading toward Mutas. I absolutely think this is going to be scary for a little bit, because in my eyes, what happens here is that Clem is going to hit into his 1-1, his combat shields, and he's going to attack before Bane Speed, before 1-1 of Dark. Dark's not really going to have anything you would typically have to help you against an attack like this. And he's also investing in, and he's still investing into all of those things. They're just not going to be ready yet. So I think the first little 1-1 timing of Clem, maybe even this attack right here, could be scary. Armory is done too, so the Hellions can be Hellbats. Dark currently has 8 Banelings, but again, they are slow moving. Let's see if they're going to be enough as we come through a couple of Widowmine's Burrow grenades go down from the Reapers. They try and cause some trouble as well. Queen's taking some shots. 4 drones already down. Here come the Lings. A few Banelings again, slow to move, are going to be a little bit slow and tumultuous just to try and get across here. Widowmine's going forward though. We're going to be able to force the lift off, so Dark, just with sheer number of Zerglings in the end, is going to force Clem to back away. Drops into the main base where we're going to apply just that little bit of extra pressure. He's actually going to target fire down a few bins before he lifts off again. And he has the Viking still lurking to see if there's any opportunities for it to get involved, for it to maybe do something over the next few moments as well. So again, just staying active. Well, I was a little afraid for Dark so far. He's shown me that I shouldn't have been. So far, he's been fine. It's obviously not over yet, but I mean, big step in the right direction. Dealing with this first attack. This creep looking lovely out on the map as well. Really starting to push forwards and across to the other side. Things are going to run through. The couple of Banelings are looking to connect as well. Oh, the Widowmine gets 26 kills. That is a massive amount of workers. It's a lot of damage done already as the Widowmine gets picked off. The Marines go to the Watchtower. Lings are coming over. The Banelings are getting picked away at. Good pickoffs from Clem. He lifts up, he moves over to the corner again, and he's well on his way to 2-2, where Dark's 2-2 is yet to start still, so again, just advantages to be had. Another Widowmine that goes, oh my god, double Widowmine that goes very well, 19 and 17. And some Widowmines have been great throughout the course of, again, this entire series they've been great as well, not just specifically, this game. It's been a wild, like I say, it's been a scrappy series for sure, right, where there's been a lot of different things going on. Definitely not everything has been super pretty all of the time. Scrappy, messy finals. One of my shoots, feelings go down. We are going to be seeing Dark bring a few more mutas across, and to the left side it is an army to try and take a battle once more. The Ling Bei muta wants to move across there. The Bio continue to pressure forward. Now some Widow Mine's going to go through. Some of those Zerglings getting taken out immediately. And Dark on the chase. Can't help but feel Widow Mines keep on striking. That one at least just hit an Overseer. As Clem pushes on the right side. He's about to have 2-2, by the way, so his army's about to become that much stronger. It's going to become that much quicker at cleaning out and trading with the Zerg units. Let's still move over that far right-hand side. The medevac's lifting off. I'm with another push, though, down to the left, so that's going to become our new question mark of what is Dark going to do to try and stop this from getting set up. Still has some Widow Mines trailing off. A couple of shots, one here, one there. Little bits and pieces as Bio comes through. And we get into the center. Ling's going to start running forward. Widow Mine shots lining up. Continue to kite back as you just see the Widow Mines going off on some of that Ling Bei. The Marines continue over as well. Ling Bei muta continue to take damage for the moment. Fire Army of Clem continues to push on through. You see Clem on the go. Like I say, we're still moments away from getting that 2-2 on the way from Dark or finished up. If he could have that, that would feel a little bit better for him. Ling Bei pushes in again. Mutas are still pressing forwards. Fire continuing to come around also. 2-2 upgrades coming up. The Ling Bei building as well. And Dark get enough. I mean, Clem is sitting on the edge of creep, pressuring through. This is not one of those bases I was talking about earlier where it's hard to push into. It's not one of the ones up the ramp, so he's playing the entry point that's much wider, that's much more accessible. And Dark feels the need to fight into this. He's not splitting any units apart looking for a wraparound or anything either. You can see his army supply is lacking. He's making 9 more mutas. Tell you what, the mutas have never really done much to Clem's side of the map, right? Clem's had a very peaceful game, hasn't lost a single SCV. Resources lost his 6,000 in his favor. He is just finding brilliant fight after brilliant fight right now. As Dark is going to fight in, he needs to turn this game around with a good engagement, but that ain't it. For the moment, at least, he will continue to not find what he's looking for. As Fire Force still coming through, Muta's taking damage, the Balin's still taking shots as well. He's firing up the Widow Mine, hits the Muta's Cloud as well. Again, just more damage being done, more issues essentially building up here for Dark. I don't really see what we do here on the side of Dark. I mean, Clem just keeps pushing forward. This base is forfeit. Then you're going to be knocked down to 4 base. You might not even be able to protect your 4th base the way this is going. Clem getting close to that ramp. The Bane's going to have to commit at some point. Use this little bit of a launching pad of creep spread to help him get into the army. It's not even close. Clem finishing 3-3, so the trades are still mega efficient. So much money put into mutas that really just never did a thing. And Clem is able to just absolutely rally forward. 5 bases behind it as well. That's the thing. It's not like he's on some kind of all-in that's just hitting the sweet spot before Dark is good to go. He's hitting with 5 bases set up, all the barracks still building, 2 more command centers on the way. I feel like this is just how this series has been looking. Like, I feel like if you look at this game on its own, I'm like, man, kind of a weird game. If you look at this game within this series, it fits in with absolutely everything else that's been going on as well, though, right? Wild time, GG's, and Clem retakes the lead. It's always been either his lead. Essentially, last game of the series. If this man in the bottom right can get it done, Team Liquid's Clem, Atlanta champion, looking to be a Christmas Day champion, is in the top left side. The red Zerg player. This is Dark. Does anyone, I believe, to keep a series alive? I would say Dark would be kind of it. I mean, like I say, it has to be said, I feel like this has been a bit of a weird series. It's maybe not been quite the way in which I expected to play out. I feel like Dark's playing a bit sloppy, a bit messy especially. And Clem just, it feels like when Clem makes mistakes and Clem takes bad situations, he just keeps getting away with it, right? Like, there's many times where we've seen Clem just have a bad start, and then boom, he's back up in supply, he's back in a lead, he's taking fantastic trades, the efficiency's through the roof. You know, many a reason why he's been able to get into just better and better spots. As the Overlord Comes down towards the south side of the map. Racks and a refinery continue to build. We take a few moments of calm just with an overlord coming across the map. Nothing else exciting happening currently. These first few moments. So the overlord heading down to the bottom. As the overlord heads down south, we've got the Reaper, we've got the orbital coming through. The command center builds from Clem as well in the naturals. Let's see if he will scout to make sure there's no funky pool first or anything. It is dark. He will cheese you. He will be aggressive. He will mix it up. It's good to check those things. It's good to be aware of what your opponent can be getting up to a lot of the time. So doing just that. As if he's happy with what it saw, pulls back home. Of course, there's a lovely Reaper now to start harassing on the other side. Had drones in some of these games, so definitely Dark could sharpen up there, because that's definitely not the expectation at all, right? You definitely do not expect this Reaper to come in to get damage done like that. As the Reaper fights, a few Zerglings taking some damage already, so shots going off. Speed, drones, still producing on through. And yeah, a couple Lings gonna get a nibble in as well, just gonna go onto this side of rock straight away. It's just gonna pick through that. Open those up. And the Reaper's gonna hold out at the front. A couple more Hellions. And a second factory. Ooh, I'm gonna mix it up then. I'm kinda down though. Down for a little bit of a mix up. Second factory ahead in the game. It's been a fairly standard-ish series from Clem, right? When you think about it, lots of 3CCs, not a lot of mixing it up in that regard. You know, he's been pretty consistent with how he's been playing these, so I'm pretty very excited to see what the hell this turns out to be from Clem, or how exactly this ends. Is this just going to be the blue flame? Obviously, with the modern day kind of setup, you see double factory cyclones sometimes. That becomes a factor to consider at the very least. It is going to be double factory cyclones. We're going to get the hurricane thrusters to speed those cyclones up so they can move about a little bit more swiftly, a little bit more cleanly on the map. Important that Dark doesn't scout this. The Overlord at the front will not make a dive to the main, so he is going to not see this for the moment at least. Dark, blind, unawares. Not how this oftentimes works. Single Zerglin just coming through. He's going across the other side again. Dark, when you look at his vision, he just sees the factory, he sees the reactor. There's no reason for him to see anything here that he's not seen in a previous, game of this series. Alien's just moving about. Marine's going to come over. This Overlord's going to get pushed a bit further back. Again, for Dark, this is all looking very regular here. He'll go to the Overlord pillar. But that just means that Clem up the right side could slip some of the Cyclones out as well without being seen. And maybe that just means even less preparation time on the side of Dark. Is Dark running into a lot of trouble here? There's a very, very real possibility that he might be. A very, very real possibility. Hurricane Thrusters, as mentioned. Baneling Nest coming up. The Lair as well, continuing to come through. 6 additional drones on the way as our Hellions and the Reaper poke at the front. Gonna meet a queen for a couple of moments there. A couple of queens gonna start fighting back. Alien's still sat out in the center. We just have ourselves the push forward. Like I say, Cyclones are leaving. Dark doesn't see it. The only good thing for Dark is we're about to go and run by. The longer he doesn't run by for, the more likely this deeper wall is raised. I mean, is Dark just dead? I think Dark's dead. I'm going to say, I think Dark's actually dead. Cyclones show up. He's got no units. He's been droning still. He's making a Baneling Nest, but how do you make Banelings from this? Oh no, he already had a Baneling Nest! Why are we making a second Baneling? Dark 200 IQ, he's like, Clem will never expect me to be ready if I don't have a Baneling Nest. Little does he know it's my second Baneling Nest. Not sure if Banes really save you here. They might help, but these Lings on the back need to get a wraparound and a good one. And even then, there's not that many Banes. 3 of them are waddling forward. Can they be the heroes of Zerg? Unlikely, it would seem, as Clem. Beautiful time to crank out a completely different build. A series where Dog's been playing fairly greedy, not as aggressive. Double factory comes through, and it is going to be absolutely killer. Look at that. GG, says Doc. I don't think he's super happy with how he played this series. I think he knew he got a lot of good positions in this series and let them up. And in this game especially, he was just completely fooled and unable to figure out what was happening with these heckin' Cyclones. That, my friends, is GG's. And that is Clem, your champion of the WardiTV Christmas Day Games 2023. Congratulations to Clem. He takes the series down 4-2 against Dark and walks away with the $1,000 first place prize.